Hi, this is Suzanne Bichard, instructor with American Institute for Paralegal Studies. Even though we're in the advanced level tort law class, I think it's worthwhile to review some of the basics underlying the law of torts. So in this lecture, I want to talk about the definition of a tort and review the three broad categories of tort law. What is a tort anyway? Well, the technical definition of a tort is a civil wrong, other than a breach of contract, for which one can seek relief in a court of law. From this definition, we can see that although a tort has in common that it is a wrong of some kind, a tort is not a crime, that is, it's a civil wrong, and it's not a breach of contract. The law of torts can be broken down into three broad categories. These are negligence, intentional torts, and the strict liability torts. Most tort lawsuits are based on negligence. It's really the biggie as far as actual civil lawsuits are concerned, and this is easily explained. We all make mistakes, and many times our mistakes equate to legal negligence. Furthermore, and perhaps most importantly, most of us are insured against our mistakes. We have automobile insurance and homeowners insurance, for example, and businesses have general liability insurance to cover such things as slip and fall injuries. Now, certainly people do bad things intentionally. As a practical matter, though, relatively fewer lawsuits result from intentional torts because insurance coverage in general is not available for intentional wrong acts. Insurance is the deep pocket the plaintiff can reach into for compensation when it comes to negligence. All torts are made up of component parts called elements. The elements of negligence are duty, which is the obligation to use reasonable care to avoid injuring the plaintiff; breach of duty, which is the failure to use reasonable care; proximate cause, the legal responsibility for bringing something about; and harm, which is actual loss or damage that results from the failure to use reasonable care. Intentional torts include torts against the person, such as assault, battery, false imprisonment, the infliction of emotional distress, and also torts against property, such as trespass to land and conversion and trespass of chattel. The intentional torts all have various elements. In general, though, a person commits an intentional tort against a plaintiff when he or she specifically desires to injure the plaintiff, or knows that the injury was substantially certain to result from his or her act, but chose to engage in the act anyway. The third category of tort is strict liability, often called liability without fault. This applies when a person is engaged in an inherently dangerous activity, such as mining with explosives or keeping wild animals. Because some activities are so inherently dangerous, a person who engages in them is subject to liability for any harm that results, even if the person took great care to prevent harm from happening. A plaintiff whose injury is caused by the defendant's act of engaging in an inherently dangerous activity does not need to prove that the defendant acted unreasonably, as in a negligence case, or acted with the intent to cause harm. Strict liability may also apply in the case of manufactured products. Not all torts fall conveniently into one of the three categories we've discussed. Some civil wrongs defy easy categorization, and there are some torts that can be committed in several different ways. For example, defamation can be committed either negligently or intentionally, depending on the person's state of mind. If you end up working as a paralegal in a personal injury practice, you'll be very successful if you keep the basics of tort law in mind. And if you're not currently a student at AIPS, and if you're interested in learning more about how to be...
Thank you for visiting the Random Site, and this will be your host, Carol D. Mitchell. In lieu of Michelle Obama's speech regarding the president's worst car ever, presumably, we'd like to present to you our choice for the worst car ever. This car had a defect that could have been fixed for just $11, caused an explosion that killed Lily Gray going a mere 35 miles per hour. And for those reasons, the Ford Pinto is the worst car ever. Thank you for visiting the Random Site. Go ahead, subscribe, and like this video. And until next time, have a wonderful day.
Product liability is a type of legal theory based on defective or dangerous products. Companies that manufacture or sell products generally have a legal duty to make sure the products they offer are free from defects that present an unreasonable risk of harm to consumers. If a product turns out to be dangerous or defective, the person injured may have a product's liability claim and can sue for damages. Generally, product defects include manufacturing defects, design defects, and defective warnings. It's important to understand that product liability law is very complex, and just because a product was involved in an injury does not automatically mean there is a valid case against the manufacturer. A skilled products liability attorney can help you determine whether or not you have a valid case. If you were injured by a defective product, you may be able to successfully sue the seller or manufacturer of the product without having to prove fault. This is known as strict product liability and applies in cases where a product has a design or manufacturing defect that led to injuries. It's important to note strict product liability only applies in special cases where the original manufacturer or seller sold you the product, not a reseller or non-merchant. Additionally, if you used a product in a non-foreseeable or negligent manner, strict product liability may not apply. If you are injured while using a product, it's important to speak with an attorney immediately. Any delay may result in the loss of evidence and forfeiture of your case.
Help, help. What happened? All I did was start my new microwave and it exploded.
Class, let's take a look at how this poor woman came into possession of this defective appliance.
I heard a loud noise in here. What's going on?
Mom, this microwave is lame. I can't get it to work.
What do you mean? That microwave is brand new. What did you try to cook?
I just tried to heat up a can of beefroni and the darn thing started sparking and then caught fire.
Are you crazy? You cannot put metal in a microwave. You could have blown up the kitchen.
Well, the only thing that blew up was the microwave. See you later.
What am I going to do now? Maybe I can sell it at our garage sale. Maybe some unsuspecting person will want to buy that microwave. Hi, how much for the microwave?